Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern-day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
Gunshots. Inside one of the most heavily secured political events in the United States. A man armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives forcing his way through security and getting close enough that shots were exchanged with Secret Service. How does that even happen? And more importantly, who is the man behind it? Because on a night meant for journalists, politicians, and some of the most powerful figures in America, it very nearly became something else entirely. The suspect has been identified by US authorities as 31-year-old Cole Thomas Allen from Torrance, California, around 15 miles southwest of downtown Los Angeles. Officials say he had no criminal record. He wasn't on any watch list. He wasn't known to law enforcement. And yet somehow, he ended up at the center of what is now being treated as an attempted attack on the President of the United States, Donald Trump. The incident unfolded at the White House Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C., held at the Washington Hilton Hotel, where around 2,500 people had gathered. Donald Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and senior officials were all in attendance. Then the shots rang out. Police say the suspect stormed through a security checkpoint and was involved in an altercation as he tried to gain access. He was armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. At some point during the chaos, he exchanged gunfire with a Secret Service agent. The officer was struck, but survived, saved by a bulletproof vest. Moments later, the suspect was tackled to the ground and handcuffed by law enforcement. According to police, it appears he was acting alone. But the big question remains, why? Because when investigators began digging into who Cole Thomas Allen actually was, the picture didn't immediately match what you'd expect. His LinkedIn profile, verified by Sky News, describes him as a mechanical engineer and computer scientist by degree, and an independent game developer by experience. He graduated in 2017 with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, and later earned a master's degree in computer science from California State University Dominguez Hills. For the last 6 years, his online resume suggests he worked at C2 Education, a company that helps aspiring college students. In fact, in December 2024, he was even awarded Teacher of the Month. So how does someone like that end up here? One of his posts also mentioned he was developing a new top-down shooter combat game set in outer space. And now investigators are trying to understand whether that detail means anything, or nothing at all. Law enforcement sources told CBS that after he was detained, Allen said he wanted to shoot officials in the Trump administration. If true, that raises even more questions. Was this politically motivated, planned, or something far less clear? President Trump himself later suggested he may have been the intended target. Posting on Truth Social, he described the suspect as a lone wolf whack job from California and shared an image appearing to show the man being apprehended. Shirtless, on the floor, hands cuffed behind his back, surrounded by Secret Service. Police also confirmed that Allen was a guest at the Washington Hilton Hotel. A room linked to him has since been secured and is now part of the investigation. Authorities are working through what was inside and whether it offers any clues. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro has confirmed the suspect is facing multiple charges, including firearms offenses and assault on federal officers using a dangerous weapon. He is expected to be formally charged in federal court. At least 5 to 8 shots are believed to have been fired during the incident. According to law enforcement sources, police have not confirmed an exact number. The suspect himself was not struck by gunfire, but was taken to hospital for evaluation. Meanwhile, FBI agents have been seen searching a California address believed to be linked to him, and piece by piece, a profile is beginning to emerge. But while investigators try to understand the man behind the attack, inside the ballroom, those who were there experienced something very different. One witness described the moment everything changed. I had just put my knife and fork down and almost didn't notice the booming sounds coming from somewhere in front of me in the direction of the main entrance to the ballroom. I did a kind of audio double take. Within moments, I thought that is the low thudding sound that semi-automatic weapons make. As someone who is blind, I focus on sounds, and I heard the shattering of glass. Then I felt the head of my colleague brush past me, and I realized he was diving for the floor. So I followed him. I was on my knees, under the tablecloth, almost certain that here I was, another Saturday night, another presidential event, and in the midst of yet another shooting. What followed was panic, screaming, people running, chaos. Within seconds, we were under the table, the witness said. Another colleague described dozens of people flooding into the ballroom from the corridor outside as the shots rang out. For 5 to 10 minutes, those inside stayed hidden, waiting to see if the gunman had made it into the room, waiting to see if this was about to become something far worse. A mass shooting, with 2,500 people trapped inside. At the same time, Secret Service agents rushed into action. President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and Vice President J.D. Vance were quickly evacuated. Other agents, wearing helmets and bulletproof vests, stood with their weapons trained on the crowd, scanning for further threats. Even some of the most powerful figures in the room were on the floor. FBI Director Kash Patel was seen shielding his girlfriend as a Secret Service agent ran to assist him. Just moments earlier, Health Secretary RFK Jr. had been nearby, saying he was simply hungry and looking forward to the event. And then, everything changed. Which leads to another question. How did this happen at all? Security around the event had been tight, roads closed, law enforcement everywhere. But inside the venue, it may have been a different story. One witness described security as surprisingly relaxed. A brief glance at a ticket. A quick scan with a wand that didn't lead to further checks, even when it detected items. No detailed inspection of belongings. It felt like a regular White House Correspondents Dinner. The witness said, one without the sitting president in attendance. And yet, this time the president was there. And a man carrying multiple weapons still managed to get close enough to open fire. As those inside were held in the ballroom after the shooting, many struggled to get phone signal, desperate to understand what had just happened. Because in moments like that, your mind goes straight to it. The what? The why? And most of all, the how. How did a man with no criminal record, no warning signs, and no history with law enforcement get this close? How many times can something like this happen before it doesn't end the same way? And perhaps the biggest question of all, was this a one-off incident or a warning of something deeper that hasn't yet been uncovered? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate your support. If you are into True Crime UK videos and would like to see more and be notified when we put a new video out, then click like and subscribe. By doing that, you will also be helping our channel grow. Thank you so much. See you next time. God bless.